Seeking motion and support for tonight's agenda. Anyone at all?
Motion. Support.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Oh, Mark's not here. I'm sorry. I said all. Yeah, remember Robinson is on vacation, so that makes 6 of us. Motion carries 6-0. Who did we have supporting?
Me.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any correspondence this evening?
I don't have any, no.
About recognition.
For recognition this evening, a couple board members we'd like to recognize this evening. So President Audit has certificates from Kenowa Hills, but these members will also be receiving certificates from MASB. But Vice President Turner, you have achieved level 1 and level 2, so the Certified Board Member Award and Award of Merit. Congratulations. I know level 1 was achieved right after they did the recognition, so it's been a year in the making to get that to you, but congratulations. And then Secretary Cortez, you have reached level 6 of 7.
Yeah.
For those that are keeping score. So level 6 is the Master Platinum Award. Only one more level to achieve, and then we'll have maxed out the MASB awards. Level 7 is the President's Award of Recognition. But just to give everybody an idea, level 6, the Master Platinum Award means that you've obviously completed levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have a total of 19 advanced to 300 level classes, and you have over 813 education credits, which is achieved by any number of board functions, whether it's going to the Capitol for behind the scenes of the Capitol, it's whether your state membership, recognition of the government relations, any KISB functions, over 813 credits towards. So that's incredible. So MASB will recognize these individuals at their KIASB function on March 19th. That's going to be at the KCTC. So hopefully other board members can also attend that to join me in celebrating for the awards. If you have not RSVP'd with Julie, please do so by March 9th. I'll remind you one more time on March 9th, but please do so we can be registered for that event. Congratulations to both of you. And then Dr. Horner has, she has a regular meeting this year. She has recognition as well.
Good evening, everybody. I'm actually going to come over here because it's nice when the people I'm recognizing are actually here. So if you don't mind, I'll pivot over here. So one of the things I try to do is get into all of the buildings at least once a month. One, as much as I love the administration building, you can take the elementary principal out of the elementary building, but the elementary person cannot be taken away. It's really hard to be out of buildings. So I got to hang with Principal Snyder and the wonderful Alpine staff. So today my focus of the celebrations is on the wonderful staff of Alpine Elementary, and I thought of a theme for all in. So my celebration is for you all this evening. So I have, when I write celebrations, it's easy for me to think about things as a theme. So hang with me here for a second. So tonight as we meet here at Alpine Elementary, I wanted to talk about the phrase all in. Often in human resources, we look for leadership roles on a resume, right? But here at Alpine, leadership, it isn't just a title, it's a spirit of volunteerism. If you've ever been here, you see it in the hallways, classrooms, and even occasionally in the trash cans. So when Principal Jason Snyder asks, can you do this? The answer isn't hesitation. People just jump to action. Ryan Z., who isn't actually here tonight, he didn't just this year transition from K-nights to 5th grade with Grace, but he literally dug through the garbage to look for a student's retainer. Last week, just to find it, just thinking about the theme of all in. It's in the evening Friday evening I was here and I got to talk to one of the custodians. His name is Mark. Him and his wife work here, and even though he had a job opportunity a block away from his house in Greenville, he drives here every single evening just to work for Kenowa Hills, and he couldn't be more thrilled with the staff and how you welcomed here at home. So thank you for not only making him feel and his wife feel at home, but also for recognizing the awesomeness that he is. And he is definitely the spirits that we want to be here of all in for our children. So we see it in our leaders here tonight who step up to guide our peers, our PBIS chairs, our process champions, our school improvement chairs. Mike Moorhead is not here, but Melissa Smith. I thought that was so cool how you were leading professional development in the same classroom that they were student teachers in, and then they were leading their peers at professional development last week, so I thought that was amazing, and I hope you felt like that whole full circle as well, too. So leadership, like I said, it's not just a title you earn, it's an action you take every single day. So perhaps nothing defines this building better. I think that happens right here. As you know, the mobile food truck comes, and it's normally run by Kim Poplaski. She couldn't be here one week, which is like rare. So of course, they put the call up, and I think Christina led it, and then 15 people came when Kim said that she couldn't be here. I think minimum 15 people carried the torch for that. So they ensured our community was fed and served, because at Alpine, if one person can't carry the torch, 15 more step in to do that, which was incredible when I heard that. So we're surrounded tonight by leaders and all-inners who say yes, regardless of the world around them, whether it's the seasoned veterans and wisdom of Stacy, Melissa, Mindy, Julie, Nick, Janice, Amy, or the incredible spark in our new guard that's here too. We have first-year Alpine leaders like Lacey. She's also leading professional development, so while your years of experience may vary, your heartbeat for your students is exactly the same. So from our presenters that will be leading tonight, to Lauren, Lindsay, the ones that cannot be here also tonight, Sierra, Peyton, please let me know that I see them as well too, our KSSN support, Kim. You all prove that student teachers, your parent volunteers, and your staff, you're all woven into the beautiful piece of artwork, just like it's all over your building, up and down the halls, the walls, and even the ceilings here at Alpine Elementary. So in honor of Black History Month, your commitment to capturing kids' hearts, district-wide also, and our theme, Kindness Month, decided to tie in a quote from Dr. Dorothy Height. She's a civil rights giant who knew exactly what it meant to be all in. She said, "Progress comes from caring more about what needs to be done than who gets the credit for doing it." So that's the Alpine way. You don't do it for the credit or for the title, you do it for the nights. So thank you for being the leaders our students deserve. To Alpine Elementary, you guys.
Thank you, Dr. Horner.
Thank you.
I like that term, all-inners.
Yep.
And I'm curious, was the retainer found?
Yeah, both
Both parts.
Awesome.
He dove back
I
in.
should go back later because you didn't realize there was a second part to it. So.
That is a thankless job, but I'm sure at least the parents were extremely thankful.
Literally, figuratively all in.
Exactly. All right, that brings us to board communication. Danielle, would you like to start? Tracy?
I'm good.
Board. Janice?
I had a really incredible vacation, but came home and went down a flight of stairs. So I'm nursing a concussion right now, and one thing I didn't know about concussions is, this is my fourth one in 2 years, is my mood is very swingy. So if I say anything out of turn, I'm sorry. And if I cry randomly, I'm sorry, because sometimes looking up, so that's why I'm kind of looking down. I just wanted you to be aware of that, so I'm not being rude by not making eye contact or looking a certain way. So I did want to be here because I did miss last board meeting because I was on vacation. And then the other thing I'll say is no matter how seasoned a board member, as you can see and hear by Mr. Hopkins so graciously talking about this award, we all make mistakes. And not the last board meeting, but the board meeting before that, I was out of turn a few times, and I just wanted to apologize for that, and I'll do better.
That's all. Melissa? I don't have anything else either. So with that, let's move on to our discussion of information items. And with that, that's our audit
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sherry Blankenship here from Maynard Casterson to present the, let's skip that slide, audit results. So, could we go back to the PDF, Jerry? I'm sorry.
Sure.
This is Google and it's not showing the whole slide.
Oh,
I can just tell you when to advance.
there we go.
That's
I didn't
okay.
notice that. Yep.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so the audit results for June 30, 2025. The district has an unmodified audit opinion. When we're looking at the single audit, we look at two major programs, the special education cluster and the child nutrition cluster. There were no findings in either of those programs. There were, in the financial statements, two internal control findings that were noted, both material weaknesses. The first, with the audit being submitted after November 1st, that's material weakness and noted as a material non-compliance just because that's not in compliance with the Michigan State Aid Act. The second material weakness, which kind of related to the timing of the audit, is for not having year-end closing done timely. I think you're all aware of the situation. There was a complete turnover in the business office right at year end, which, as new management stepped in, realized that certain balance sheet accounts hadn't been reconciled, federal grants hadn't been reconciled, so a lot of work that had to be put in to get year end reconciled and to a place where we could then get to an audited financial statement. Last point on the slide here then is the governance letter that's included with the audit. It's just required communication, just kind of a verbal, if you will, summary of the audit results. Could you go to the next slide here? Thank you. So here we've got a summary of some of the numbers. You can see all the major funds listed. Not going to read every number to you, but you can see general fund at the end of the fiscal year. Assets, 12.1 million in fund balance, just over 6 million. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. But then all the way over to the right, total assets for the district, 64.65 million with overall total fund balance of 56.8 million. Okay, so here you can see a summary of the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Looking at the general fund, a use of fund balance for the year of $245,000 that was budgeted. We'll see that in a few more slides. But then when you get to fund balance as a percent of expenditures, the district had end of year 13% of expenditures. That's within MSBO recommendation, 10 to 15% there. And then we're going all the way over again to the right. You can see total change in fund balance is a use of 6 million, but the main portion of that 6 million, if you will, is in the capital projects fund, which is expected to be used. That's spending down those bond funds as you're building and making improvements to the assets. Next slide. Okay, so here we've got the budget comparison. So you can see that $245,000 use of fund balance. The district had budgeted final balance of approximately $399,000. So a positive variance there of about $153,000. These next two slides are just some pie graphs. So general fund revenues, you can see state sources make up 49% of revenue. It's important. Largest source of revenue there. Then you've got local sources as your secondary. That's primarily property taxes. Within normal ranges for school districts within the state of Michigan. And on the next slide, we'll see some expenditures here. So you've got 56% of instruction expenditures and 40% support. Again, within normal percents for school districts in Michigan. And then this slide, it's going left to right, if you will. So 25 is on the left. So you can see the trend in fund balance actually has been steadily increasing for 2021, which we again saw across the state of Michigan because of the additional federal funding due to COVID. And now, you know, a lot of leveling out from 24 to 25 when most of those funds have been spent down. The next slide shows just some highlights of the notes to the financial statements. So as part of the audit, we look at capital project fund expenditures. Specifically, those have to be in compliance with section 1351A, a different code section. And when we audited those, it's noted in the financial statements, we audited them for compliance. There were no issues with those expenditures. Note 4 shows capital asset detail. Net capital assets, $86.2 million at the end of the year. The district had additions of $6.6 million. Long-term obligations at the end of the year, just under $125 million with principal payments of $3.3 million. Note 7, I'll just mention, it's that really long footnote about the pension and OPEB liabilities that we've seen for years and years now. District at the plan, or excuse me, a liability at the plan level that the district only records their portion of at the government-wide level only, no fund balance effect. And then there was a new accounting principle implemented in the current year. It was a change to how compensated absences are reported. So a little bit of a restatement to beginning government-wide net position. Again, no effect at the fund level, only at the government-wide level. It's just how the liability for compensated absences is reported. For fiscal year 26, there's just, so it's a new accounting principle, but no new accounting. It's going to be just some changes to how the financial statements are reported. You're going to see a little bit more detail in the budget to actual schedules, a little bit more variance explanations in the notes to the RSI, just so that way it's a little bit more transparent with any budget variances. It's the biggest change. I talk really fast. And there's a lot of information to go through in a few minutes, but what questions do you have for me?
So we've got the two internal control findings, material weaknesses. One was we were late in not having year-end closing.
Yes.
Understanding we had extenuating circumstances that led to both of those. And so far, I think all that we're aware of impact-wise is the withholding of the funds until it is filed and accepted. Is there any implication of the fact that we as a district have had that occur twice now?
Well, there are two different circumstances. I mean, complete turnover this time. It's hard. You have new people that walk in and they're trying to reconcile and, you know, work with basically an entire year that they weren't here for. I'm trying to remember the last time. The last time I think it was me just. It's hard to speak to that.
The last time had to do with short staff and
Yeah,
concerns.
similar.
So,
Yeah.
yes, okay, sorry, I just didn't want to speak out of turn. Yes, there was not as many people in the business office.
Correct.
So a lot of it fell on one person to get everything done.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to be clear about what I said and not say anything inaccurate.
Right. I just don't know if there's some major report that we end up on that is a black mark and becomes an issue, or
No, not as, once the FID gets uploaded and everything, you know, then the state aid payments get released, no.
and then we move forward.
So for the current material weaknesses, does management or administrative team have to submit like a remediation report to you in terms of how they're going to correct it?
So there's a corrective action plan in the financial statements
Okay.
that states basically what management intends to do.
And then you validate that throughout. If it doesn't get resolved in a timely fashion, then you put that back into.
Correct. So then in the next audit, we'll be looking at that to basically audit what said they were going to do, it was then good to do that. At this point, we're not auditing 26 yet, so we're not there, but yes.
You already have that corrective action.
It's in, yes, it's in the audit, yes, it's literally in the audited financial statements, yes. It's a required form.
So, kind of to that, I'm curious to know, is there levels of lateness, right? We missed it by one day versus, because I know that we had, maybe we got caught up, but then we're off you guys' cycle, so then we needed to wait. So, would the outcome have been different? You know, day one, it's still a
November
that issue,
2nd.
correct? So,
Yeah, it's due
yeah.
November 1st, November 2nd, it would have been the same.
Same thing, there's not levels of, now you're really late, that kind of deal in terms of it, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of implications, correct?
Correct. Yes, it still would have been a material weakness November 2nd, because it would have been late.
I comment, I think the biggest implications to the school district itself, the longer you go, the longer you don't get your state aid, right? Which just make, like, so it's just a natural incentive, like, the faster you can get it done, the better, right? Because going that long without state aid is not ideal.
But it doesn't impact the amount of state aid, it's just
No.
the timing.
No, it's just
And I
timing
think
of
that's
when
the
we get it.
question is, I mean, obviously having it delayed is a problem, because you could be in a pinch, we didn't get there fortunately, but do you ever forfeit any of it?
No, they'll put in all the same formulas, so it'd be the same number had you had it submitted and you got it.
Well, let's just not get there again, how about that?
We're good, yeah, it was, once was fun enough.
Yeah, I can imagine. Welcome to Kenowa. Fun way to start.
And not having anyone who had awareness of the programs that we had used definitely was to be a problem too for you guys, having to get help on the IT side of
Oh, yeah.
the things there too.
No, we feel in a much better spot. I mean, obviously, the year's not done, but we feel way better now than we did, 3 months ago, and we continue to implement things that just improve the efficiencies and just the ability to give our auditors easier to digest information in their requests. So, yeah, we're feeling good about things. And we have staff, that's the other thing, we have the staff to play.
Initially, you were getting some support from Jason, is that all done now?
Oh, yeah, long time.
Ken and the team, I know all of you know this, but Ken and the team have been puppies, but actually, they've done a remarkable, unbelievable job. And in the midst of all of it, have done it while maintaining composure and patience and all those kinds of things. So I feel much better about where we are today, because not only were they completing all the work that was required of completing the audit, they were also building systems in place for this year, so that we wouldn't get ourselves back in that place again. So, and like has been mentioned, I think you mentioned it, Tracy, compounding it was the fact that we use a software package that isn't used extensively in the field, and so there weren't a lot of people to call upon. We found some great resources as a result of this to call upon, but we couldn't go to our ISD, for example, as willing as they were to help, they couldn't help because of limitations associated with using a different software package.
I know you said that the two spot checks or whatever the actual term was, one of them was the child nutrition. I know that was a problem for us in the past, like double counting. So, like, is that the same similar kind of checking on programs?
So, child nutrition cluster, you're pulling my memory now. We have no finding in there. I think it was for,
I feel like there was,
like inflating meals were reported or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It was, when we expanded our testing, it ended up being kind of like a one-off, but it's still reportable, right? And then, just kind of speaking, child nutrition cluster kind of like caught my memory. So, sometimes you get a management letter related to food service fund, due to to access fund balance in the food service fund, but there wasn't this year. So I guess to make a point of note, not that that's really a big deal per se, because a lot of school districts in Michigan still have that excess fund balance, but you don't have that in your management ladder. You're underneath the threshold, at least for 630 to 25. I mean, that can fluctuate every year. But yes, so when back to both of the major programs that we looked at, special education cluster and child nutrition cluster. So we're specifically auditing the federal piece of that for compliance. It's not just, if you will, it's a separate audit from the financial statement audit. So we're also looking at compliance and internal controls within those programs. And so we did not have any findings within either of those.
Ken, do you know off the top of your head what our budgeted use or increase to fund balance was this year? 26 or 26?
Oh, the budget, yeah, I actually have it open. The budgeted increase is, 347,000.
That's an increase?
The fund balance is what's budgeted. For 26.
Another half or point or so that would be. I was just curious, as you migrate towards the high end of the range, is there any time when people are going over it? Or,
There was a point when COVID that people had their balance like in the 20%.
There's actually still districts that are that high. So.
Yeah, they share that information, like for our business officer group, there are some districts with some very high balances. I'd say we're probably right in the middle. If I had to, I saw the graph, it's probably been 2 months, but yeah, I would say we're kind of right in the middle of the norm, but there's definitely some with very high balances.
This board has done a really nice job of that steady, staying right around between 11 and 13% throughout the last many, many years. Even when revenues went way up because of the COVID funds per se, they were, the board made some decisions about how those funds should be spent to support student academic learning and things of that sort. So even during those times, our fund balance never went up higher than I think ever 15%. So just using the funds as they come in and maintaining that fund balance in case things don't go as what we had hoped, or planned for.
My understanding, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, the implication is if it goes too high, then you kind of have to justify why the money that this group of students was allotted isn't going to their benefit.
no, exactly the point. Yep. Great.
Thank you, Sherry. And thanks to your team too. You were very patient with us, and
We like working with you. We appreciate it, the new management and everyone in the business office. So patience was key. So thanks, Ken.
Thank you, yeah, we appreciate everything Gabe did as well, so.
Student representative reports. Aaron, do you have something tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over. Principal Snyder. And how rude, here we are in your house.
My house!
Sorry about that.
I'll have my team come up too if that's all right.
Please, take it away.
Well, welcome to Alpine. Once again, you always kind of get the similar time again. I think I get to hear the audit every year, so that's always an interesting one to come to. So anyway, I have a great team here today with me that's going to help present. We have Stacy Solomon, one of our 4th grade teachers, Mindy Galloway, 5th grade, Melissa Gates, 4th grade teacher, and Melissa Smith, 3rd grade. And we have Amy Sherman over there. She's not here presenting today, but she's also a big part of our team too. And of course, like Sherry said, Kim. As well, that supports a lot of our students. I just want to recognize them as well. Also, I want to give some kudos to Liz Greenman, our Director of Curriculum at the elementary level, because what we're presenting on today is really connected to a lot of work that Liz put in, not just this year, but last year, getting bookworms in our hands and looked at, and did a lot of piloting, and that work started really last year, even though Liz is in this role. This year, her work really started a while ago. And so what we wanted to do today was really present to you guys the board our district's really supported implementation of a new reading curriculum, which is bookworms. Significant amount of dollars spent to really improve reading instruction for our students. And so we thought today we'd take a little bit of time to look at take an in-depth look at it, and most importantly focus on some of the student impact that we're seeing already, and also some of the feedback we're getting from teachers as they're using the materials. So one of the things I want to start with first and foremost is school improvement goals. At the beginning of the year as a board, you guys asked us, how's this going to really change practice, right? Is it going to make an impact on our kids? Because at the end of the day, we are accountable for getting our kids to be successful, both social, emotionally, but also academically. So up there we have Alpine Elementary School Improvement Goal. 70% of students will meet their target growth scores from fall to spring is a big part of it. With the second part of that being 25% or more will meet or exceed their stretch goals. So that's really looking at the students who have to, if you have kids at different levels, right, we have to catch up those kids. So they have to make more than just that average growth to really get them to be at the same level as other students. So right now we pulled out some of our data here, and we looked at what is our progress right now. Right now we're only into February with a lot of breaks since November, snow days, midwinter break. But the progress of the goal, as we looked at a student count, we totaled up the number of students based on individually compiled results, and 40% of our students have already met their end of the year targets. So almost half our students have really already met where their target's at the end of the year. So really making quite a bit of progress towards that 70%. Another way to look at the data real quick too, this is a comparison between fall and winter scores. So at the bottom here is our fall, and this is our most recent. So just a couple quick things that stand out. Look at the difference in green, and then also look at the difference in red. So green one is a lot greater, red's a lot smaller, and kind of the simplest way to look at that. So you can see that some of the instruction that we're doing is obviously making a huge difference for our kids. The data kind of speaks for itself there. So I'm going to turn this over to Melissa, and she's going to chat a little bit about an overview of the curriculum.
So bookworms is split into 3 blocks, each 45 minutes, at every grade level, and one of them is shared reading, and so this is like a really fast overview. And the purpose of this is fluency and comprehension building. I love this quote from the teacher's guide, but it's a structured system for building word and world knowledge, and that's exactly what it is. You'll hear some examples from other teachers in a little bit too. So essentially you're introducing vocabulary to kids and teaching them about spelling and meaning of words. We're reading a passage quarterly all together. Kids are then rereading that with a partner. And then we have a discussion and kind of put our learning onto an anchor chart. And that is 45 minutes every single day. You wanna? Another one of those blocks is the ELA block, and this is really the modeling and instructional time for reading and writing. So either we're doing reading and read aloud, or we're doing writing instruction. The read aloud days, we have books that we're reading out loud to kids, teacher-led. There's grammar instruction. Who knew that 15 years into my career I would be loving grammar instruction, but here we are. There's also talking about the text structure, vocabulary, and then the writing days, we're modeling writing for kids, writing together, and then they have time to work on their own writing and produce some final composed pieces of work. The last time of day is DI, differentiated instruction. And again, the purpose of this one is meeting individual student needs and really then that independent working and practicing time. This is when we're meeting with our kids in small groups, intervention, and our resource room teachers are coming and getting kids during this time. Kids have assignments they're working on independently, whether it's writing sentences based on vocabulary they've learned, comprehension questions about what we read in the text earlier. The lower grades, this is where phonics is coming in, and really neat because they actually are not teaching kids things they don't need to know. If they already know how to do something, like those kids are working on something else. So really, really targeted instruction. And then if they have time, which is pretty rare these days, they get to read a book of their choice, which often now is, can I read more books about the American Revolution? Or can you get me the second follow-up book to the book we read in class? So a lot of the books they're reading independently are tied into the things that we've done in class, and they're asking to get more of those books in their hands. So that's kind of the outline, a really fast outline of what bookworms looks like K-5, which is kind of hard to do. So,
But what I think that might look a little bit different each grade, but the consistency with what is here is across all grades. So obviously what you might see in kindergarten with some content pieces is gonna look different than fifth grade, but this is really true across all grades. So a couple things I was highlighting in kindergarten. One of the noted differences when I spoke to kindergarten about how this has changed in instruction, they have a lot of differences in their routines and procedures, more diversity in the read alouds, including some science and social studies. They have the vocab and comprehensions, and the vocab and comprehension piece is greater, and then a lot more fluency in writing. An example of some student impact. So last year, you guys know that Lindsay Jones did some work with our kindergarten students as well. And so some of this also was work started last year because they were doing some of the key instructional things there. And but one of the things that really wanted to highlight here is some of the work that's done in bookworms is that consonant vowel consonant work. And so you can kind of see from where we were last year at this time of the year, we were at 30% in their CVC words, and now we're at 62%. So again, that is of course some great instructional moves done by the teachers, but also having some great resources to rely on as well. One of the student examples that I wanted to show, this is a specific student. So you can see the different skills there here listed on your left. You can see where they've mastered the key standards are in blue, and at the end of the year progress too that you can see in green. So very few pieces that they can keep that are needed yet for this student. And then again, this gives the teachers an opportunity to target what those skills are at. And here's an example of some kindergarten writing, where you can see they're at, and this is more writing than what we've probably seen in kindergarten in the past, which is really awesome to see. Because you can even see that you have some of the words spelled correctly, you have the sounds in there. Just some again, higher rigor and expectations for our kindergarten students. First grade, some positive impacts noted here. Variety of genres. Melissa mentioned that with the shared reading piece. The key things I want to lift out in this one, I'm not going to read all of it here, but the consistent procedures and routines again allow them to feel successful and master skills. So think about this with our fifth graders now, right? Some of our fifth grade scores certainly have room for improvement, but think of our students if they're getting this from kindergarten to fifth grade and what those results could look like that. And then also just overall excitement for students to read and use new vocabulary words in conversations. I've been impressed with hearing some of these words first graders are getting exposed to, and it just kind of blows my mind. Like even I've heard them using words like predicate and some, and you're like, these are the words our first graders and kindergartners are hearing, in addition to a variety of other ones. In writing instruction, similar to what was mentioned already, with just those multiple opportunities to write, dictated sentences, written responses, and responding to the other. I'm going to flip over to third grade and allow Melissa.
So yes, I'm third grade. If you were to step into our classrooms here at Alpine in third grade, these are some things that you might hear our students saying. One, I'm learning new words every day, which is awesome and true, and just like Jason said, some of our students are using them within their own conversational conversations, and so that's really awesome to see. I have quite a few English language learners in my classroom, and so their data is showing their vocabulary is growing really well. And not only are they getting the vocabulary, but it's also helping with their reading of larger multisyllabic words, which is amazing, and we're seeing that also as an impact of the structure. Another thing that I often hear when we finish a book, because we've been through so many books that are amazing and shared reading, is can we learn more about something? And Melissa kind of touched on it too, that when we finish a book, like we read a whole book about the Constitution, and some kids were like, I want to learn more about this. And so have I ever had a third grader say that to me? No, and this year they do. And we're going to Lansing this week, and so we also read lots of other things about government, so that connection to other content areas is really awesome. And I was talking to a teacher from Zinsser. They already went to Lansing, and the students were asking questions about what we learned in the Constitution and the government book. So it's taking it not just from the shared reading, 45 minutes, it's expanding over all here and even at the Capitol building. So it's pretty amazing. And then just the student examples, their writing stamina is, it's amazing to see from years past what they've been able to do and what they're able to do now. Another thing is the students are just absolutely loving shared reading together. We obviously have it, you know, as a whole group, and then they go off with their partner, and they love that so much. So then I have one more, which we've kind of talked about too, but just another student example of their writing. And but yeah, really the impact is they are becoming stronger readers. Another thing that I often hear, especially now, at first this curriculum is challenging, but it's a good challenge for the kids, and they are reading books that they probably would have never picked up, and now they're choosing to pick it up. The last two things I'll share is I've had kids who were in tears in September are saying, oh my gosh, I can read, I'm a reader, and I'm doing really well. And then the other one is just that I can't even think of what I was going to say. It was good, but I can't think of it. If I remember it, I'll let you know. But yeah, they just are, it's amazing to see what they are doing. So, and Jerry said it in one of our ELA books about the BFG. So hopefully you enjoyed that.
So I am Stacy, and I have the privilege of talking about what bookworms looks like and the impact it's had on our fourth graders here at Alpine. So similar to what we've heard echoed, there are some comments from students. So if you ask a couple of my students, what do you think about bookworms? Some of the comments I heard was, it's fun, I like making my super sentences, it helps me spell words correctly and gives me a challenge. Since we have to write about what we read, we are more focused in the book. It's challenging, but it's not so challenging that we want to quit. And I think really that encompasses what our goal is as educators, to challenge our kids, to hold the standard and the expectation high and get them there, not to lower that expectation. So they know they're being challenged, but they're engaged in it. And I think that's another thing we strive for is active engagement. And using bookworms, I have seen my students so actively engaged. Whether they're reading chorally with me or reading with their partner, they're engaged in the text and they're engaged in growing their fluency as well. Another area we have seen a high impact is, we've all said it, but our student writing. So writing, I always tell my students, is one of the hardest things you're ever asked to do. Your brain is doing so many different things. And I've seen students, they're like begging me to write the next day. Like we were writing about natural disasters and they're like, do I get to write about my tornado today? And they're just so excited to dive into research for those topics and then to put it to paper. And as a teacher, I think I can speak for most of us, that's a really big challenge to get students excited to write. And so they get to write every day. They get to do a short response every day and then also grows into those larger essay-styled papers as well. So we get to walk through the entire writing process with them multiple times, and that is wonderful. And then if you want to go to my next slide. So overall impacts, so I believe that bookworms has a very high level of rigor. So we are expansive vocabulary growth, we're seeing that writing fluency, their fluency practice with their peers, and then their comprehension skills. And if you just look at our data for fourth grade, from August when we tested to now January, the growth we've seen in just those three areas alone of now we have students at or above grade level, and I think that just echoes the importance of what we're doing and how well it's actually working. And if you want to click one more time for me, Jason, well, maybe two, there we go. And then just one other thing bookworms does is, I know not everybody is a type A person, but I am, and so I love the structure and consistency, and I think my students thrive because of it as well. They know now what to expect, they know what they're doing, and that proves through their independence and their peer-to-peer accountability, and again, that active engagement and participation. So it has been a wonderful, wonderful change for fourth grade as well.
Ditto to everything they said. I just want to talk about fifth grade. Fifth grade is a hard grade to start bookworms in. What I have seen and what Mike and Ryan and I have seen is that the kids love reading. They were so excited when they finished the first book, Walk Two Moons. They were like, we read this together. Like, we read a whole novel. I feel like so many of our students haven't picked up a novel by the time they've gotten to fifth grade. They grabbed those graphic novels, so they were just so thrilled that they actually were able to finish a book. One of my students, he has a chance to go on sensory breaks, and he's like, Mrs. Galloway, can I go take a sensory break? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead, but we're gonna do shared reading next. And he's like, oh, no, I wanna stay. Like, I can't miss the book. And it's not just him, it's all the kids. They just love the books, they love reading. One thing that I've noticed when we go to the library, last year, maybe 1 or 2 kids picked up a novel to read or like a chapter book to read. I would say probably half of my class are grabbing novels out now. So that's a huge thing when you think about 5th graders and like what they're going to go into in middle school and high school. We just finished reading The Watsons Go to Birmingham, and the kids have to write an article about the civil rights movement. And the amount of discussion that we're having on the civil rights movement is amazing, and they want to just learn more. I could not believe, they were like, Mrs. Galloway, can we listen to the whole I Have a Dream speech? Like, we've got to listen to it. And so I just think that the connections between science and social studies in the real world are there all the time with bookworms.
So, this is being done across all buildings. We have an amazing team right out there that I can't be more grateful for. But you're going to hear this similar story if you were to talk to teachers at Central and Zinsser, because those great teachers there are engaged in a similar work. So these are some comments that were actually pulled from one of our PEs. I pulled that from the data Liz shared with all the administrators as well. And put some of these comments up here. And so this is not taken from my team. These are taken from a variety of staff from around the district, but you're seeing those same things there. The amount of writing my kids can do is amazing. My students don't want to stop reading. All the work that comes into building skills and STEM is going to come from fostering that love for reading and writing. So I'm really excited to see what this program is going to do long term for, not just our kids here at Alpine, but all kids across the district. And what I also love is our engagement is there with the kids, but you're also seeing engagement from our staff too. They are really digging into the work. They've said how rigorous it is for the kids, but it's also rigorous for them as well. But they are stepping up to that challenge and knocking out of the park. So I'm really excited, for the path that we're on and where we're going to head. And that was one of the things you guys all asked, what's different this year? A lot. And hopefully you're seeing the picture here, what's being done differently in classrooms and how students are responding to it. Because at the end, our challenge is this connects right to our mission and vision, right? We are here to help all learners achieve their full potential, provide a meaningful learning experience for each and every student. And that's really what bookworms help support, which is what our mission and vision here at Kenowa is. So that is our presentation. Any questions?
I've got 3 questions. The first one, this is our first full year of bookworms, right? You guys picked it up last year and learned it kind of over the break and right at the beginning and just hit the ground running.
It's a little bit of a pilot last year, so it was like 1 teacher per grade level in the district.
Yeah. So some have a little bit, some of the kids had a little bit of experience. And books, probably more for the lower grades. Does bookworms provide the books as part of the curriculum that says these are the books we're going to get in front of the kids?
For shared reading, we all have different novels and different books for each grade level.
Okay.
And that's all included. If you guys want to go out on a little field trip before you leave, our last door on the right is our conference room, which also has shelves of all of our books that you just swap out for the different units of instruction too. So
Okay.
everything is provided for the teachers.
And I'm just curious, is that something that you start with X amount of books and then we try to continue to grow our bookworm collection?
That one might talk to on that one.
Bookworms, as they said, at each grade level, there is a collection of books, and that remains the collection of books from year to year. So they have specific books for each module in each unit. So that will not change. We will not add to that. The one thing we'll be layering on next year is the differentiated instruction. So this year we really tackled shared reading and ELA. Although many teachers have kind of taken on piloting the DI block, we have that time set aside for small groups, but we will add on resources for DI, and some of that may include additional books. But the 2 big parts were the shared reading and the ELA. Those books remain the same from year to year.
And my last question, what is a super sentence?
Well, you learn, so they start in 3rd grade and then up to 5th, and so we get 2 vocabulary words
shared reading. And then during that DI time, that, small group time where students are working on their assignments, you take the vocabulary word, so they have to know the meaning of it behind it. And some of them are challenging for sure, so it really expands their thinking. So there's one to the far right. So essentially they are, so we talk about that sentence structure of having a subject and a verb, and then you add on the other details to make it super. So you have your when, your where, your why, and your how detail. They don't have to have every single one. Some students really strive to have all of them, some just have one or two. But then they form those bubbles together to create a sentence, and that also plays into, those grammar pieces. And so it's really, third grade is the first year, so it is, it's our first year of book room, so it's like a wow factor at the beginning, but it is amazing to see what they've been able to do from September until now, and even their stamina and confidence of creating a sentence is huge. So yeah, it's really, I've actually stretched my own thinking for some of the words, so yeah.
So I think that the word in the center is meteorologist, and then on the outside it says, it's kind of cloudy a little bit, but it says like why, where, when, and the other bubbles around it. So the sentence then says meteorologist studies the weather every day in the labs to tell us
Further weather.
So they're taking the words around that then to create sense. That's what that's kind of looking at that she's explaining.
Yeah, and those words connect directly back to the reading that we did for shared reading that day.
But it seems like each year this is going to progress, right? Because fifth grade, they're just starting. They have the benefit. Next year, you're going to have fifth graders that had it in fourth grade, and the following year, you're going to have fifth graders that had it all the way through. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before this started, and we are extremely excited to see what happens in the next few years and on to see, we're already amazed at what's happening now. So to see the progression in the next few years is going to be very exciting, so.
What's also nice with the consistency too, just from like an administrative lens, like I can go into a kindergarten or first grade classroom and you have some similar expectations, and then you can see kind of the vertical articulation of those things as they go up, which also allows you to see, is that consistency still occurring across the grades too? So there's just a lot of, I think, a great opportunity here for us to continue to grow and improve in what we're providing for kids.
Well, and the consistency for kids year to year too, to be taught the same, right?
Yeah, I told them, you're going to be doing shared reading next year, so get really good at this routine. And super sentences.
Wow, there's no doubt that it will work well if you guys stay excited about it too.
Yeah.
That's huge for the kids.
For sure.
So, yeah, money well spent.
Exactly.
If I could add too, that, I think I've said before to the board here that I'm really, really proud that Kenowa Hills leads the county in the number of teachers who have been trained in letters. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Alpine teachers have led Kenowa Hills in the training, the completion of letters training. So they dove in from the very beginning, all of our teachers, K through 5. I think I just saw in the good news at the fifth grade level.
Yep, we have just a few fourth and fifth grade
Yeah.
teachers finishing up this year, and then we'll have 100% of our K5, or KK5,
Yeah.
in special ed and intervention and administrators.
Yeah. Have really, and so we talk a lot about bookworms here, and certainly bookworms is the biggest lift we've had this year, but for our teachers, they've been lifting a lot the last few years to really, dig in for our students, so well done on that.
And I think too that the letters piece kind of also helped guide our decision process with that, because one of the big things that we held on to was making sure that the program that we chose was going to be able to incorporate that learning and that, the science reading. So, okay.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Let's go home, guys.
All right, now let's go to superintendent reports. I'm skipping ahead, I'm doing. All right,
8th grade to seniors. So I was able to get 40 kids from our school who will be going that day, chaperoned by either Mr. Shakur or I forget the other name. Also for my clubs, Rotary is going to be making a butterfly garden in the high school courtyard. And if you've been there, the big circle in the middle will be a butterfly garden, and then we're going to be playing in the cement beds because there's a whole bunch of living issues. So that'll be really fun, and I actually have no idea about gardening, so I'm learning all of it right now. But it should be pretty fun. And we're also working with the facilities, of course, which they'll probably work to plant new grass and stuff like that. So it'll be pretty nice. And
If
then
you need help, let me know. I
do
love
you have
that.
knowledge? Okay, then I'll send you an email.
Okay.
And then student news is pretty much finishing up. I just know that we have a winter sports recap coming. I won't be here for the end of spring sports, so I don't think we'll have one. And then I think we're doing a senior music video and end of the year recap. So that would be cool. So that's all I have. Yeah.
The symposium that you're speaking at for mental health, is, what was the name of that one again?
U to you.
U to
U to the number two.
U to U. Is that something we could attend?
It's open to the, actually, it depends on if the RSVP is still open. It could be, I'm not sure, it's free. I'm just not sure if it's still open, but you could definitely look.
Look it up online?
Yep, it's by Our Community's Children. That's what it's called. I'll also be speaking at the African American Male Achievement Conference next week about it, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Forgot to put that in there.
Again, I don't know when you sleep. But,
Yeah, if you have details of when you're speaking at events, it'd be nice if you sent those to us.
Okay.
Our email is boe@khps.org. Because we'd love to support you. All right, thanks for that update. Now, onward. Superintendent's report, Jerry.
Yeah, just a reminder, in my presentation at the committee of the whole meeting earlier this month, I shared with you the school choice resolutions for this upcoming school year. Like we've done every year since the Kent County plan came into place, I'm recommending that we start by opting out of the state plan. All other districts across the state of Michigan that are outside the county, they have to decide whether they're going to opt into or accept school choice through the state plan. Because we have a separate plan in Kent County, my recommendation is we opt out of that plan. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, there's legislation that you've probably seen regarding school choice and what that could look like in the future. You know, I don't know that that's going to have any gain any traction this year, so it might be something that you'll have to revisit in future years. But we opt out of the 105, the statewide plan, opt into the Kent County plan, so participate in that, and then participate in the 105C plan. It's a section of the state plan that allows us to accept students from counties that are contiguous to Kent County. And that's important because we happen to be very close to Ottawa County. Part of our district is in Ottawa County. It's not just Ottawa County students that we have to accept. Just think of Kent County in the size of Kent County, so it would also include students from Perry County as an example, from Macomb County as an example, and so forth. So Newaygo County. So it's any county that is contiguous to Kent County that we can accept students through that. So we talked about this last time as a first reading tonight, just a review of that again, and then I'm asking for your approval of that tonight to align with the timeline that the ISB's asked us to reach relative to these resolutions. And every district in the county has to decide where they fit in all this. But I do believe now every district in Kent County now participates in school choice, the Kent County plan. some districts did not participate in school choice before, but I believe every district now has at least a few slots for their Kent County plan. Any questions on those?
You said that follows what we,
It
that's the
does,
standard.
it does.
Yeah.
That is what
Each year.
we've
Yeah.
recommended each year, yep, no different. What is a little bit different this year and has been different in different years is the number of slots that I'm recommending that we make available. Just a reminder, what we publish to the county is a total number of seats available. What I share with all of you and include in the board packet is our best projection of how many seats we'll have available at each grade level minus 12th grade. We don't take students through the Kent County School of Choice plan at 12th grade, and the reason why we don't is Section 6 is available to families where let's say their child has been with us for however many years in the district, and then they move out of the district but want their child to graduate from Kenowa Hills because that's been the totality or the majority of their experience. We can have them come back to Kenowa Hills through Section 6. It's one of the major reasons to use it. So they have an avenue. We just don't take students through the Kent County plan because once they become a student through the Kent County plan, they are a student. They're considered just like any resident student in the district until they choose to leave.
So the only way they could be school of choice as a senior would be if they were already
Correct.
part of the program.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you can see on this, I keep adding to this. I don't have all the years, but starting with 2003, you can see how many, all the way to the right, how many slots we published district-wide, and then how many slots we filled. You can see that this year I'm recommending, based on looking at all the class sizes that we have, 140 seats available. Those would be K through 11, and that's what we published, pending the board's approval. We do say we have unlimited 105C slots. I don't think that's going to cause a problem. I don't see us, because these are, again, families that would want to come to us that live in a different county. So it's pretty unique circumstances when that's the case. Sometimes it happens to be, staff members in their district that, because they work here, they want their children to attend here, and they may live in Ottawa County, and they come through that plan when they do that. So you can see the breakdown here. We have fewer slots at the elementary level than what we've had in the past, with the exception of kindergarten. I always believe that if we get our students, the younger we get them, and the greater time that our teachers have to work with children, the better opportunity they'll have at success. So if we can take in 50 kindergarten students, then our hope is that we retain them over the years, and they're with us during their career, if you will, K-12 career. And then the middle school is pretty tight. We do have some spots available because we do have families that do come over, from a charter school setting. They want to make that change either at the middle school level or they'll make it at the high school 9th grade level, and it's primarily due to extracurriculars that they make that decision, that change. But so I'm recommending 140 slots. What we do then is we have the capacity to move these numbers around as long as we stay within the 140. So last year, you'll see, for example, we had 145 slots. I thought we had filled all of them. We had more than 145 applications, but we couldn't fit them all in when it came down to it because of class sizes and things like that. We don't want to create a situation where, because of school of choice, suddenly we add a section and it takes our average class sizes way down. Our teachers love that. And I understand that, but it's on an economy of scale, we try to stay within that. So this I'm not asking for you to approve tonight. I wanted to get it in front of you tonight, give you the opportunity to ask questions, either tonight or before the next meeting, but to, again, fit within the timeline that the ISD has outlined for us. Boards are being challenged to approve the number of school choice slots by the next meeting that we have.
So once we have a number of slots, we can go under, but we can't go I know in the past with John, he was pretty good about keeping us updated and forecast with all of the development and things that were happening and what we're anticipating, and how that could affect our numbers. And at one point, we were expecting a lot of growth
Yeah,
that didn't really, I don't think it panned out because some of the development was delayed.
it has been delayed, yeah.
There's the Graceville,
Yep,
there's the, I think, English Hills area, and then I believe there was some, was it over by St. Anthony's, kind of this side of the Grammar?
the other primary one that there may be, but the other primary one that we've been tracking is called Alpine Ridge. It's over off of Alpine Avenue, the corner of Alpine Avenue and Alpine Church Road, that development that's going in there. And that's actually, if you go by there now, you'll see about 10 houses that are in various stages of construction. I have this little, I didn't put this in my presentation, but at Alpine Ridge, they intended to have 3 houses, single-family houses built there in 2022. By now, they would have intended to have 30 houses in there, and they're at about 10. They're about 10 in there, so.
Graceville's delayed.
Graceville's delayed
Some
as well.
clearing
Yep,
happened.
and they've now moved
Shut
a lot of the things, so they're gonna start developing, but eventually, we will have about 400 new single homes in the district, just between Alpine Ridge and Graceville.
And that's probably within like a 5-year
That's
range.
that's in a longer period. This one, when they started in 2022, they had it for Alpine Ridge as an example. When they started there in 2022, they were going to go out to 2030, so 8 years of growth there of development. In Graceville, they were going to start in 2024, and they were going out to 2044. So that's a long, there's a long runway there.
So as we work through our bonds, and we've talked about the sweet spot before and what our buildings have capacity,
Yeah,
we can always pull the lever of backing down the school of choice.
absolutely, yep. And I would,
Because we're really high compared to a lot of the districts in Kent County, right?
for school choice?
Yes.
Yeah, when you look at, especially when we have for the last several years, when you look at kindergarten, when you start pulling students in at around 40 students every year at kindergarten, our school of choice, as long as they stay with us, they're still counting toward our school of choice. So we're second in the county, behind Northview in percent of students who are school of choice. We're over 30% now. About 1 in every 3 of our students are school of choice, and that's in large part because we start them out in kindergarten and hopefully retain them.
And the trend is they stay.
And the trend is, that's the hope, is that they stay. I don't have the numbers on that, Tracy. I really would have to dig into how long they stay, but that's the hope. And we know, like I said, we have the best chance at their success if they're here younger and get in front of our future.
So, I think the numbers you proposed make a lot of sense based on what we see trend-wise. My thought is just over the last few years of me being on the board, seeing some improvements on just the process of
here in the next few weeks. So tomorrow night we have, part of the greatest confusion our families have are those that are enrolling their children in kindergarten. And because we start that process, so early compared to what we used to do, and we do that because, it's competition, right? This is a very typical time of year that we begin to have these meetings to get those that are going to have their students attend kindergarten information about that. So tomorrow night we have a kindergarten parent meeting. A lot of time has been spent on improving some things for those families in particular because they start a process before we even start the school choice process. So several of those 50 families or 50 students, if you will come to our and begin starting to show interest in Kenowa Hills, but the school choice window doesn't open until after spring break. And so even though, we try to do a very good job communicating to them that right now they're expressing interest in Kenowa Hills and we very much want them to be a Knight, that there's a process that we have to follow and we have to keep them engaged throughout because they start tomorrow night. They do screenings coming up in a couple months, but they're still not, may not be chosen, if you will, through the school choice process until that window closes middle of May. So we'll see how we do with that, but even the presentation that we put together for our families last night, a lot of what we put in there was informed by some of the missteps we had last year. But I love the ideas about the Zoom calls and focus groups and things like that to try to improve, because it's not just kindergarten families that struggle with the process. I don't want to suggest that it is. So we continue to try to learn and grow, and part of it is they have to fill out an interest form to show interest for all of our families before we're ready to actually register them. And so it's a very confusing process for a lot of families. We're trying to make it better.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'd say about this too is I did, when I looked at these numbers too, I did dusted off that Plant Moran enrollment projection took a look at what where they thought we would be based on their enrollment study that they had done, and tried to use that to inform these numbers as well. So just a reminder, if you dig that out yourself, they have us being stable next year. We'll see if that would be amazing, just to be stable. We haven't even talked about for budget purposes where we thought we were going. So that's what I have for this evening. Well,
Finance.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Um,
this is,
We have in here information that I'm sure you're used to seeing once a year, striking of delinquent taxes from both the city of Walker and Alpine Township. So basically, after 5 years, if they're unable to collect on this, basically they're going to stop collecting. The amounts are pretty small. If you look at the documents, Walker totals a little less than $7,000. Theirs is pretty easy to follow, the documentation they send. Alpine doesn't quite summarize it in total, but adding them all up, it's less than $2,000 on the Alpine Township piece. And so they have that information for you, and then I just have to return documents to them. I think one was March 20th and one was March 30th, so we have plenty of time to get approvals at the next meeting, and I get them signed.
Is there a separate one for auto?
Probably, I've not seen one for auto.
it hasn't come in yet.
Okay.
And I would imagine that one's probably going to be less. The smallest of the three, if I had to guess, just based on the amount that we collect. But yep, when we get that one, we'll bring it as well.
Thank you.
Of course. Then we also have in here the purchase of a John Deere Gator. Worked with our facilities director. Essentially at a high level, the Gators we have are not all-wheel drive, so come winter, they really can't be used. And so his thought process on this was to get a four-wheel drive one and put a plow on it and put a salter on it. And this could be used to
just gives dual functionality, right? We can use it in the summer and in the winter. So we're able to do that through our purchasing program through the state of Michigan, the My Deal. It's about a 13% discount that we don't have to go out and, you know, bid and try and find the best deal. It's already 13% discount. So you'll see the Gator itself is just over $29,000, and then the equipment that needs to be added to it, the snowplow, the blade, the spreader, that's about $9,000. And then the intent is to sell the old two-wheel drive. Right now, they're saying the Blue Book is anywhere from 8,000 to 11,000. So, you know, most likely just put that up on auction and, you know, get as much as we can for it to offset the cost of the new vehicle. And of course, we would use for the amount that's owed, use the capital projects fund for that. And just for folks, there is current balance in the capital projects fund is $576,000, and we actually just sold a truck recently, and that's another $28,500 that'll go into that account.
Watching that auction. What are we gonna do with the plow truck? Do not bid on that. Fortunately, it went higher than we wanted to pay. That was good for everyone.
Well, we knew the buyer, they had contacted us that they wanted, Comstock Park, I believe, is the one that ended up getting it, and they really wanted that
Good.
vehicle, yeah,
Good.
so.
I'm happy they got it.
Is there any questions on the Gator that I can answer? And then the quotes and everything were in your materials as well, that reflect the pricing and all the specs on it.
Do you feel like, just hearing what you said, like technically the sale of the truck that you just did could cover almost all of the Gator or whatnot? Do you feel like you need to sell the one that?
Yeah, because the truck is ultimately you get another truck as well. Yeah, so that'd be another time I come to you with a purchase. So he's not quite
go to another district, in other words, and earn $10,000 more than what he is now. And it would be a huge loss to us if that were to happen because we'd be starting over. So we're recommending that his title be changed to network administrator, and with that would be that $10,000, which would bring him still not completely in line with what the industry standard is, but significantly closer.
10,000 is annual, not prorated, right?
Correct.
Is him taking over that role with those added responsibilities, are we looking at if we need to get backfill, or is he just gonna do extra?
It's what he's doing now anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what he's doing now anyway. I know we've talked before, you probably recall, for the last couple of years, there's been a conversation about adding a position within the department. And for a variety of reasons, we've not done that at this point. That may be something in the future that we have to look at because the reality of it is it does, there is some things that they are a bit short-staffed in the department, which just takes away from some visioning and some of those things that you'd like to see in the director. So,
Yeah. Okay. And then as far as Kathy, is this retro, is this to accommodate the extra that she has been doing, or is this just going forward?
This is going forward, okay, this is going forward, and part of this is, there are a couple of things relative to this. One is that it's going forward, and that's why it's the additional 32 days, isn't that? Yeah, 32 days. But in her contract, when she was at 6/10, starting at the start of the school year, they had written in her contract that if there were days that she worked beyond those 3 days a week, that she was compensated at her daily rate. So throughout the first however many days, she's been filling out time cards if she's worked extra. So throughout the year, she's been compensated for the time that she's worked in that role. The primary change to move away from this now is, as the board knows, Pathways was identified through the state program that they have some additional responsibilities, some incredible support that they're going to have in order to increase, with the hope to increase the student achievement there. And that requires significantly more time than what she'd be able to do in the 3 days. So we need to make this change. And what we're doing is shifting some funds so that although her funding can't be charged to grant-funded programs, some counseling support that we've added there this year can be charged to grant-funded programs. So there's going to be some offset. Not one-to-one completely, but there's going to be some offset. Not all of this is going to be absorbed by the general fund.
Do we have, I know we had an assistant principal helping out.
Yep.
Are they gonna continue with moving her to a 1.0? Are they gonna continue to offer additional support?
They'll support whenever she is unable to be there anyway, but so have others. Like Dr. Warner's been over there on days when Mrs. Kathy's been out of the district, and I've been there on days, so collectively.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even saying when she can't be there, I'm just saying with the extra stuff that,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
the obligations that we have now.
Yeah.
to
We didn't
meet.
talk about that, but I don't know why we couldn't.
Okay.
We have not discussed that.
Okay. Okay,
Yep.
that was all I had, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry I didn't get that to you ahead of time.
That's okay. I anticipated there'd be questions about these.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. B, seeking motion and support to approve the 2024-25 audit report as prepared and presented by Maynard Stierson.
Motion?
Support. Any questions?
I have a question, I just have a comment. I just want to thank Kenowa for the dedication and the stick-to-itiveness, the all-in, if we follow the theme, to get in and learn the systems and get us staffed to where we could submit this and come back as well as we did. So, thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Seeking motion and support to approve the resolution to opt out of
Motion?
Support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item D, seeking motion and support to approve the resolution to participate in the Kent ISD Collaborative Schools of Choice Program for the 26-27 school year.
Motion?
Support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And lastly, seeking motion and support to approve the resolution to participate in the state 105C Schools of Choice Program for the 2026-27 school year.
Motion?
Support. Any questions there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, future items for consideration. Our meetings are listed. And that brings us to go-around. How do you know I was going to start with
I
you?
saw you looking for
Julie, anything in your corner?
No, just the dates, which I'm
I
sure.
was, you want me to take that at the end? Okay. Melissa?
I'm good, thank you.
Jerry?
If you have not already heard, a longtime teacher at our high school passed away. Recently, I just saw the obituary today, don't remember the exact date, but his, if you graduated from Kenowa Hills, there's no doubt you'll recall, his name's Gary Clark, longtime high school teacher, 30 plus years at our high school, and he just recently passed. His visitation is this Thursday from 4 until 7. I can get you details regarding that. Funeral is Friday morning. But some of you may have had Mr. Clark as a student at our high school.
I'm good. You have it? Tracy, anything?
I was gonna ask about the dates, where we were at, but it sounds like we got that. I don't know, we're gonna
We'll take
address
that up at the end. Do you have anything besides dates?
I see that we have,
We have lots of take-homes tonight. So,
you're gonna address those? Okay.
sure, we'll address those too.
And then, nope, that's what I have.
All right. Nothing? Chase?
No RSVP, so anyone can come. It's on the 9th floor, 300 Monroe Avenue.
Okay, wait, hold on. Where are we?
300
the
Monroe
chamber.
Avenue,
Oh,
or
at the
just the
chamber.
Grand Rapids City.
9th floor, and when did you say it was? Friday?
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
5 to 7:30.
5 to 7:30.
9th
That's
floor,
this week, Wednesday.
yes.
Okay.
Like,
All right. Well, thanks. Ken, anything from your corner down there? All right, yes, the pile in front of you, just some takeaways. I took a couple CBAs and thought the cheat sheets that they gave us were good. Really, the only thing that I found, one of the things that we do different is we use table motion a lot.
wait, you're talking parliamentary.
Oh, sorry. Open Meetings Act. No, it was pretty much pretty cut and dry, basic Open Meetings Act. Wasn't really a whole lot of extra meat there. But feel free to go through it. I mean, it was still good. It was a good refresher. I think any of that stuff is a good refresher. Parliamentary procedure was also a good one. I had never taken that one, so that was good. But the one thing that I think I mentioned at the last meeting that we do use a lot, all of us, is, we often say, look, do we want to table that? But we don't actually mean table it. We mean postpone it, because tabling it is actually, doesn't give us much leeway to do a whole lot with it. If you look at the,
Tabling it basically makes it go away, right?
doesn't
don't
let you
necessarily-
amend it, it doesn't let you reconsider, yeah, it
You
kind of
don't
makes it go away,
necessarily
yeah.
have an intent to pick it back up.
Right, and I think we all loosely kind of usually mean postpone. So that was kind of a reason why we printed this off. So anyways, if anybody wants to look at that. And it's just a nice cheat sheet to have if you're deciding what you want to say. And then Julie also was kind enough to make copies of Andy's email to us that included basically, all of the points that both our public was sending for the superintendent search and, board input. So we have those, basically hard copy if you're like me and you don't want to sit on your phone and try to, zoom in and read it. So that's what all that is in front of you. And as far as dates, yeah, we're struggling with our date poll. So I don't know if you guys want to, what is this? Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know if everybody can look at that, or Andy also brought up if we were to do it a week later, but then that puts us into the week of graduation, and that would be a miracle if we could get that final interview that Thursday. So I don't see everybody agreeing to a Tuesday graduation, a Wednesday graduation, and a Thursday final interview.
What was is the second meeting or the final meeting problem?
Basically, what is it?
I submitted mine and there's 3 meetings that we need.
There's 3 meetings that we still need to
Oh, there's
secure.
not a obvious winner on any of them?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
we've got somebody that has a conflict with every night, right? With
Yeah.
those?
Yeah.
No.
One member has,
So I don't know how deeply those conflicts are, that if it means, like I'm rescheduling a lot of my stuff and calling and rescheduling a lot of appointments I have. I don't know if other people can kind of look at their schedules and do the same.
I said yes to everything except for the third set, the Saturday, my son walks.
Oh, yeah, and nobody's, Saturdays are out of the running, so, and obviously nobody would expect something
Yeah.
like that.
But
So
I opened up
You're-
everything, I'm
you're-
yes
okay.
across the board, and that's what I said I would do.
So I don't know where that leaves us.
Do you want me to tell you where there's only one conflict?
Probably those dates would be better.
Okay, so if we're looking at the week of the 13th, for when we have the mostly closed session, followed by open session where he introduces the candidates and you select the ones for interview. We have 6 of you available on 15th, that's Wednesday, and 6 of you available also on Thursday.
And that's just,
The 16th.
that's just one meeting that week.
So it would
Yes.
either be the 15th or the 16th, but clearly there's one person that can't on the 15th and one person that can't on the 16th.
And that's not counting Mark because he gave me availability twice and it's different each
Oh, yeah, he
time.
said yes and no and 2 different email addresses, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he could still change his availability, and that might skew it a little bit. And then,
Are you counting him as a yes for both?
kind of,
Okay.
because he said yes in one or the other to both. And then the week where we have interviews, that's troublesome, because only
Because we
one
need 2
person
days.
thinks that Saturday was desirable. So we need 2 evenings. And we're kind of tied for Monday and then either Tuesday or Thursday.
I think everybody said Monday though, right?
Everyone said
So
Monday.
Monday's kind of a
First
winner
choice.
that week.
The
Yeah.
27th?
Yeah.
Is-
So,
I
Well,
didn't
one
say-
person said
I
that.
didn't say, I didn't say Monday.
oh,
And
Julie?
I'm trying to balance too.
I was
Who
just
said
gonna
no that here versus there. I don't want the same person making sacrifices.
correct,
Yes.
correct.
some interviews, but is there for the other part, that seems kind of pointless, because how do they weigh in? They can't compare. I mean, it almost feels like if you're gonna have somebody, it should be one person miss both. Just a thought. I don't know what the benefit of being at one and not the other is.
Well, and I asked about moving everything back, and that is an option, we can do that, but I just don't know that we're gonna all align a week
I'm not sure this gets any easier.
later, exactly. Because then we get into the graduation stuff too. So I honestly don't know what the solution is here.
And Andy did say he wants perfect attendance at all of them. If we can't get perfect attendance, lighten out our scheduling is what he said. So,
So we need 2 nights the week of the 27th, and do we have one yet?
So since Mark isn't here, is Mark, his,
we did not give any availability for that week.
oh, so we have no idea what we can
So
do
we
that
need to
week.
start, we probably need to start getting clarity on his.
And the first of
Doesn't
December.
work on this week because of vacation.
I don't wanna move a bunch of stuff around, only to have him say he can't do
Right,
it.
I know,
and then-
see, and I struggle with it going too long too, because I just cancel a lot of people off.
Sorry, what was can we go back to the week of April, never mind.
We did land on a final date though, right?
We did, yes, that is good news. We have May 14th, is Thursday, that's our night for the final interviews.
Okay.
Is that still all like a 4-hour block to expect? Is that,
It could be longer.
or is it longer?
But the one starts at 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
so in terms of like, where do we go from here? The people with conflicts should talk to Julie and Erin? Or like to try to figure out how that works, or, and everybody else just put all these dates and tag holds? Or what can we, what can we walk away with?
The
to help?
possible dates are the 27th, 29th, and 30th. Those are the ones that week, April, and then
Either
15th and 16th.
You and Julie conflicts that,
I didn't have any, I messed up on the poll, I read it wrong and thought you were supposed to pick the best of your options of
Oh,
those
well
days.
then clear,
And I did, I emailed Julie and told her that the only conflict I have now, which I didn't have before, was taking my grandson to speech on Thursday. So I prefer not to do it those nights, but if we have to, my daughter's future mother-in-law said she would cover for me, so I really don't have any conflicts.
so what does that free up, Julie?
That frees up Thursday the 16th. I mean, I prefer not to do it, but if I absolutely have to, I will. I mean, I can, flip there. And that makes Thursday the 30th our number one choice for the 2 interview nights, first interview nights. So then if we want
Was it a yes and a no?
Yeah, was it a yes
Or
and a
just
no?
Did have a yes and a no.
Or was it two no's?
Oh, shit, what was that? You think you did.
And then it went like one.
So that's round one. Round two,
Round two, it looks like the 14th of May is good.
and that, so round one is the first interview.
No,
These,
Oh,
here's the. Round three is the 14th of May.
It's the 13th.
there's only 2 rounds of interviews.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
So that's where I think there's a little confusion now.
Oh,
The
yeah.
first time we meet, not interviews, it's just the
This one
introduction.
has-
Oh,
And then
okay,
we
okay.
Select whom
This
is
two
the
interview
interview.
will last
So we're down to 2
2
days for that, 15th and 16th final.
Yes.
Okay, so
That's our
this is
selection
not
days.
interviews.
Yeah.
The third one, this one. What is
Yes.
that one?
We're doing resumes. I just signed.
And that could be the 13th, or the 15th, or the 16th.
No, those are Wednesday, Thursday.
It looks like there's one day out because of some
That's your 13th.
I don't know if
but I would, the Mark said he couldn't get it.
So round one is a
He
first
gave
set
us
of
different,
interviews.
different
And
answers
then
to what.
two days.
I don't know how he's able to do that. I couldn't.
Well,
I couldn't go back and
emails.
change
And then
My
round
husband
two
had
is.
two emails.
I think he
final,
took,
and that's
he
just
took up my whole.
date.
It's very,
Okay.
mostly because you don't have an account. You have an account limiting 12
Oh,
applicants.
that's
Yeah, maybe I should have just broke down a tape for a mark reader.
Hey, you're the one that's got to interpret it all. I can't imagine what that's like.
You
Whole
know,
itself is out.
That's why I just decided to email ahead and say, well, this is.
How come we don't just put an Excel spreadsheet out there and just put in the yeses and the nos? Isn't that,
Because that does the work for you, consolidated, but.
I mean, it's just a column.
I can do that.
I would put name, all the possible dates, and an X where it works.
Yeah.
Sum it up until we get a couple
Or
to
green
seven.
and brown. Red doesn't work, yellow, not my favorite, but I'll try it. Green, all good.
Whatever
I
works.
guess no possible, whatever. I mean, I don't think we need to subscribe to anything or have a complicated service. We can all access the document. We can go in and put our availability in it. Not this time, because you already did it, but I mean, find yourselves going forward. Sometimes I think we overcomplicate it with technology that's supposed to make it easier, and it doesn't always.
Especially, I'm guessing if you use a phone, especially.
And I think complicated will be more than 2 options. It's either yes, I don't have.
Yeah, yes or
Yes,
no.
yes is I may have a conflict, but I'm willing to adjust my conflict to make it work. And no is, I have a child that's graduating and I'm not going to, that's a flat no, I'm not gonna move anything around.
But if there's 2 days that work really well for people and I'm gonna lose a night's pay, I'd still rather go with the night that I don't.
It doesn't sound like that's the case.
So that's where
There's
I
some
like,
benefit to the maybes.
that's why I like the maybe, like I can do it, but it's not my first choice. So,
I'll put it maybe.
yeah, that's where I like the
Yeah.
maybe option, because it's like, if there's
If
the
there's one
extra
that
day
works that doesn't have any maybes.
correct, then that's the one that should be chosen,
Yeah.
so.
Do you want me to do that for,
At this point, we're not, that's,
Try. I think clearing up Mark's availability would be a step in the right
Okay.
direction, you know. And I also think putting it on that grid, you can send it back out to people and they can look at it to verify that it's correct. Because the doodle poll is complicated enough, I wouldn't be surprised if it was comparison.
okay. So where are we with that? Are we sending something out like that at this point, or are we
I
just